Okay, hello everyone. Thank you all of you for coming out. Fantastic to have everyone here. And This is our first quarterly crime prevention meeting for 2020. I'm going to start us off by having Chief Jim O'Shea come over and give a quick introduction, and then we will have our guest speakers and go from there.
Good evening. It's good to see everyone that decided to show on this cold night. But also, and especially, we want to welcome those that are watching us live on Facebook, or I'm sorry, YouTube this evening. And we hope you join in if that opportunity arises. First, we'd like to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. For those of you in the audience, please rise, and our flag is in the corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're going to get started here in a moment, and our MC, Crime Prevention Officer Ben Ransom, will move us through the meeting. We got some great guest speakers tonight that will be coming up, and also you'll hear from the officers directly that are on the streets and are on the front line keeping the village safe. And Ben, why don't you start us off with our first item on the agenda?
Thank you, Chief. So we'll start off with Dick Chappelle, the Executive Director of the River Forest Community Center.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you, Chief O'Shea, for inviting me to share some information about the community center tonight. What I wanted to do was just go through some of the basic information about the River Forest Community Center, and there is a slideshow here that's also as part of it. But the community center is located at 8020 Madison Street, and we provide a variety of different programs, services, and activities for not only residents but also participants who come from some of the surrounding communities also. The bulk of our participants are from River Forest, and that's something that for the benefit of the taxpayers, we are not taxpayer supported at all. We are strictly a self-supporting agency that derives our operating budget from program user fees. And that's something that's critical because I think a lot of times people assume that we are a line item on your tax bill, and we are not. So that's one thing. And I'm very proud of our staff and the commitment that they've had as far as offering a quality of programs and being able to increase some of the program offerings that we have for residents, and also just for the role that they have played in the operation of the village. So, and how will this move forward here?
Just click to progress.
Okay. What I've explained is who the River Forest Community Center is, and also the role, and I've also highlighted what the funding is. Again, overall, our budget is roughly $2.2 million, and that is all derived from program user fees. And again, it's a credit to, as I said before, to our staff and for their ability to provide programs and administer them just so that we are a successful organization. We do have, as an organization, there are several key partnerships that we have developed over the years. First, specifically, we have a partnership with Oak Park River Forest High School District 200. They have 3 classes in our building at 8020 Madison Street. And that's part of a reciprocal agreement where the community center took over the operation of a child care program that they started approximately 25 to 30 years ago for the benefit of keeping students who had children in school and get them graduated from high school. That partnership has worked out extremely well. We have, their students are the 18 to 22-year-old population that is housed in our building, and those students interact with our program participants as well as community center staff on a regular basis. And it's been a very, very productive and beneficial cooperative partnership that we've had with them. The next partnership that we have, and there's multiple partnerships that we have, is with River Forest School District 90. We have also partnered with them for the blended preschool program, and part of that program is also housed in our building. There are some other joint programs that we do also in conjunction with D90 as far as sharing space, but the blended preschool program is a partnership program where D90 students participate in the blended preschool program in our facility. Next partnership would be with River Forest Township. River Forest Township is also housed in our building, and we do a lot of cooperative programs with them, whether it's with senior citizens, whether it's with youth. Some of the mental health programs are also offered in our facility, and it's been something that we've had a long-standing partnership with the township. Library. River Forest Library, the community center utilizes their staff, and they come in on a weekly and a monthly basis to participate in some of our early childhood programs that are offered over at the community center. Conversely, there are some times where our programs will also go visit the library and utilize their facilities too. Another partnership that we have is with the Early Childhood Collaboration, and that's been a long-standing partnership. We are able to use a lot of their resources for our early childhood program, both at the River Forest site and as well as at our child care location in Oak Park River Forest High School. Conversely, we are the host site for a number of their trainings that they do for not only for the child cares in River Forest and Oak Park, but also throughout the surrounding area. That partnership has really developed more over the last several years in the sense that there has been a greater awareness and a greater commitment to providing early childhood programs so that young children can benefit and hopefully get a jump going into elementary or kindergarten and then elementary school, with the ultimate goal to be able to get them to be successful students both at the elementary, middle school, and at high school level. We also have a partnership with the Illinois Action for Children, which is another child care support agency. They also use our facility for a lot of their host trainings for multiple areas in the Chicago area. Primarily, they focus their trainings that are done in our building for River Forest and the surrounding communities. But again, they're a good resource for the community center, and we're able to utilize them on a regular basis. Another partnership that we have is Opportunity Knox. Opportunity Knox has been a tenant in our building for 10 years now. And one of the things that they do programs for participants with developmental disabilities, and it's primarily focusing on the over 22 age group. Although their program is not limited to 22 and over, but by statute, local school districts are required to educate participants with developmental disabilities up until their age 22. When Opportunity Knox was formed, there was a void in programming for the participants once they reached their 22nd birthday. So they have been a very good tenant in our building. And one of the things that we have done is they have not only expanded from what was originally just an after-school program, they now offer a full-day program 3 times a week, and they have also expanded where they have a couple of side businesses that employ their participants, specifically a pickle-making business as well as a catering business. So it's been a very, very good partnership with us, and those are the highlights of some of the key partnerships that we do have. As far as a programming standpoint, let me forward through some of the slides here. The community center offers programs in a variety of areas. I had mentioned earlier that we do have a lot of early childhood programs, and those are very well received, and they start at our high school location. the programs actually start at the infant age group, which is 6 weeks, and go up through preschool age at the high school location. At our River Forest site, we have programs that start for the, actually, we've got some recreation programs that started for participants that are 15 months old. Our DCFS license program starts for age 3 and goes through age 12. That's something that's become kind of the bread and butter for the community center's operations, as well as a springboard into some of our other recreation and general type programs that we offer. One of the things that, as we're talking about the early childhood programs, in conjunction with those, we also offer a before and after school program that provides transportation to the River Forest schools and selected Oak Park schools. That's something that has developed extremely, been a very, very important and a development that's been very, very well received by the community center. Typically right now, and not everybody comes on a daily basis, but during the course of the day, we're bringing back probably 55, 60 different students from the different schools back for our after-school program. So it's worked out extremely well. Overall, I think we've got about 100 participants that are enrolled in the program. And again, some may only come a couple of days a week, maybe some come all 5 days a week. It varies, but it's something that parents can kind of tailor their schedule to what meets their needs. But it's a critical component for both the after-school and before and after-school programs. Other programs that the community center offers. We do birthday parties. We've got an indoor playland, and that's not only is that utilized by our early childhood program during the course of the week, but typically on the weekends for the birthday parties, which are held at the community center. That's the location for the majority of the birthday parties that we also do. Other programs, we do have some general recreation programs, and those range the gamut from specialty, whether it's camps, whether it's activities such as art and craft type activities, whether it might be our theater program. We also have some general rec programs, as well as some sport themed programs. And for a lot of our sport themed programs, we're also partnered with Legacy Sports, who does, whether it's some of the birthday parties for us, whether it's some of the other athletic and or sport programs that they do, both after school, on the weekends, and certainly on days off of school too. Other items, there's a number of special events that we do during the course of the year. In fact, we got a big one coming up. Our daddy-daughter dance is going to be on Friday, February 7th, and that event will typically sell out for us. So we'll have probably 400, 425 participants that'll come. So if you haven't got your ticket yet, you should get it. So, and it's a very, very well-run event, and I think that a lot of the feedback that we get from participants is that it's a very enjoyable event also. A couple of other things that we also do too is we do have there are building rentals that the community center does. Primarily during the week, our facility is used for the community center's programs. During the evening, though, that there are the meeting rooms and some of the other multi-use areas, those are also used by various other community groups, including River Forest Youth Baseball, Oak Park Youth Baseball and Softball, and as well as some other groups. The township does a lot of different programs and services and meetings also in our building, typically during the evening hours. And again, on the weekends, depends upon what the community center's program schedule is, but there are opportunities for building rentals on the weekends also. As part of the slideshow that's been put together, there are some specific examples of some of the different program areas and just some general information, including some of our enrollment numbers. One of the things that the community center is very proud of is collectively, almost 80% of our participants are River Forest residents. We also have the child care site in Oak Park River Forest High School, and we do pick up some of our participants who go to our program over there, do come over and participate at our site in River Forest. But one of the things is that we're certainly filling a void and certainly filling a need, as evidenced by the number of residential participants that we have. So there is information as far as what our program enrollment is, and a breakdown by percentage of communities and that type of thing too. So there's also some additional information specifically about the different partnerships that we have. And one of the other things that I would like to point out, and I speak from a community center standpoint, as we have partnered with the high school and with Opportunity Knox, these are some of the things that where their participants are exposed, and our program participants are also exposed to some of the nuances of dealing with students or participants with developmental disabilities. And it's been very, very well received. A number of parents have commented about how productive and how beneficial it's been to have students that may have some type of developmental disability that are actively engaged dealing with the children and other participants in our building on a daily basis. And that's been one thing that's been extremely beneficial for us, not only as an organization, but I think has brought some benefits to the community as a whole. Our after-school program, as I said, there's some statistics for our after-school program. Again, we've got collectively during the course of the week or month, we've got about 100 different program participants that participate in our after-school program, and that's something that's it's certainly been a big benefit, for people who utilize our program, as well as just from the community center as a whole, as far as one of our more successful programs. We do have various other recreation programs, and there's some statistical data from some of our most recent recreation programs that were offered during the fall. It started in September with the start of the school year, and typically a lot of our program sessions end in January or whatever, and then we start new sessions coming up either late January or possibly even early February. One of the other things too is that we do offer summer camp programs, and a lot of those programs are our participants are folks who participate in the community center programs that are offered during the school year, but we also do get an influx of new participants during the summer. And one of the things that the community center did last year was, and it seemed to be more in response to comments from program participants and just participation trends, were that the community center went to weekly sessions as opposed to 3-week sessions. Our camps are broken down into various age groups. We do have some half-day programs for the under 5 participants, but we also do have full-day programs for people starting or participants starting at age 3, and those are broken down into a 3 to 6-year-old age group. Younger age group, which they're the next age group, I should say, is the 2nd through 4th grade age group, and then the last age group is the 5th through 8th grade participants. But in response to just suggestions that were coming in from parents, we felt that it was in everybody's best interest to go ahead and change to a weekly format instead of a 3-week format, and that seemed to be very well received last year. So think that is, again, as a final part of our presentation, the special events that we do. As I mentioned earlier, our Daddy-Daughter Dance is coming up on Friday, February 7th. There are some pictures as part of this slide presentation. We also do a Halloween party. That's usually on the Friday before Halloween. And then there are some other special events that we do. We do a mother-son bowling night, usually on the first Friday in April at Circle Lane. So there's a variety of different programs that are available for participation for residents as well as other participants. So I will certainly answer any questions if anybody has any questions. If not, I thank you for the opportunity to present some information about the community center. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dick. So we value our partnership with the community center. We actually were housed by the community center this year for our Junior Citizens Police Academy, and they allowed us to use their space for all our participants for training, for classroom exercises, and so we really value that. And as we do positive youth development, and we have Kelly O'Connor here to talk about what they're looking at for 2020.
Good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me. Again, I'm Kelly O'Connor. I'm the Prevention Services Manager at the Oak Park Township, and I'm the Grant Coordinator for Positive Youth Development. So the work group for Positive Youth Development is a community coalition that started about 10 years ago in response to the Illinois Youth Survey. And if you're not familiar with that, that's an anonymous self-reported survey that 8th, 10th, and 12th graders take every other year. So what we do is we look at that data. We did an assessment report. We studied the local landscape for about 2 years, and we came up with the contributing factors that were, part of why our kids are using alcohol and drugs. So we took a look at that, and the community came together to identify some evidence-based strategies to help reduce underage drinking and substance use. That's the mission and vision of the coalition, and many of our coalition partners are in the room. We value our partnership with the River Forest Police Department, the Oak Park Police Department, River Forest Township, the River Forest Community Center. We work very closely with mental health agencies. We work together with District 90, District 200, and District 97. Because the schools are the ones that get the kids to take the Illinois Youth Survey, and it is very valuable information that doesn't just have to do with alcohol and substance use. It has to do with mental health. It has to do with activities, health, before and after school, school climate. So the information really gives the community a glean into what is actually happening in our kids' lives. And it helps us make data-informed decisions. And so, again, we had the Strategic Prevention Framework Partnership for Success grant, that's a mouthful, for the past 5 years. PYD recently applied for the Drug-Free Communities grant. So early in November of 2019, we were awarded both Oak Park and River Forest. This is, again, the community-driven process. So it takes the partnership. We received $625,000 for over 5 years from the Office of National Drug Control Policy and SAMHSA, which is the Substance and Mental Health Association. So we're very proud of the work that the community has done. We've collaborated with many partners, as I've mentioned. We have a youth advisory council that started about 6 months ago that's in conjunction to what is being done at District 200 with the Healthy Youth Peer Educator Group. So what that group does is they go out into the classrooms and they do some positive prevention messaging. We have a high risk of kids that think there's no harm to substance use. We also have permissive attitudes from both kids and adults in the community, which has also contributed to our higher use rates. So with obviously cannabis being legalized in early January, we also are looking at ways to reduce those numbers as well. And I guess as communities, we're trying to figure out how we're going to be navigating some of the situations that come up from that. Obviously, we also have some, high number of kids vaping e-cigarettes, nicotine, and they are also vaping THC. So we, as preventionists, we like to use the term retail cannabis instead of recreational cannabis because recreational sounds fun. And so that's something that even a layperson can be a part of this as well. Just start by using that terminology because that's what kids will hear. We also do communication campaigns. And so we do, this just went out to the District 200 parents. This is, again, positive messaging. It gives, you an idea of, creating family rules. The campaign took about a year and a half to develop through focus groups and surveys. So this, again, is a community-driven process. Your influence is a superpower. That's one of our campaign slogans. We also participate in the sticker shock campaign. So what does that mean? We go into the Jewel, we go into Pete's Market, and the kids, along with some parent volunteers, tagged the bottles of alcohol in the liquor area to remind people not to purchase alcohol for anyone under the age of 21 because it is illegal. We also work with both law enforcement agencies in both Oak Park and River Forest by doing compliance checks. And so we go into the retail establishments. We just make sure that they're carding. We work with youth volunteers. And again, that is a very collaborative process that's been very successful for the past 3 or 4 years. We will start also doing more marketing campaigns talking about the impact of using cannabis. Obviously, it's legal for anyone over the age of 21, but we have to look at how this is going to impact our youth as well. One of the other evidence-based strategies that we use is a youth prevention education program. And so District 200 has incorporated that into their health classes so that all 9th graders receive the same curriculum. And we've been using the Project Towards No Drug Abuse program. And then I know that in River Forest you have the Too Good for Drugs is the curriculum that you're using in the middle schools, I believe. So that's just, again, the kids will also receive some at the high school level too. And prevention should start early. So let's see, the compliance checks, we have the campaigns, and the partnership. The grant funding has also brought in additional monies to train our law enforcement. We just recently had the compliance check training and responsible beverage service training. So what does that mean? Licenses, servers that serve alcohol, or if you're in the retail establishment, you have to be certified and go through a training. It's called BASSET, and that's through the Illinois Liquor Control Commission in the state of Illinois. And that training will eventually be provided for free. It's a service that the Oak Park Township will offer in addition to the River Forest Township, because we have a partnership with that as well. So again, the goal is to community collaboration. If anyone is interested in finding out more about positive youth development, please do visit the Oak Park Township website. I do have some flyers in the back of the room. I also have, in addition, there's some talking points for parents to have with their kids. There's some information about Illinois Talk Cannabis campaign that provides a lot of information on what the law actually means to you as an individual, and then also some of the impact that it could have on youth. And we also have an Instagram page. And so again, that's on the back. It's oprf.pyd. Please visit Prevention Services page, because we do have more information and articles for if you're an adult, a parent, a youth. There's a wealth of information, and that's also just recently launched a new website, so that's kind of a work in progress. But if you are interested in more, again, I'm at the Oak Park Township. That's where the PYD offices are located, and there is also, again, more information on the social media pages. All right, does anyone have any questions?
Kelly, any future initiatives or goals that you see coming down the road in the next 3 to 6 months from your organization?
So I think what we've identified as probably being one of the most important things that we can do is to provide accurate information about the cannabis law, because there is a lot of we're finding a lot of misinformation out there, especially when it comes to adult use. We know that our kids are using a vaping, an e-cigarette device to inhale THC, or consume it, is how they describe it, is the impact of that on the mental health. So it's really, PYD's goal really right now is getting out the accurate information, and and just so that we can all make informed decisions. Okay. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you, Kelly. PYD is really at the forefront as far as organizations go, dealing with all our concerns in our community about vaping and retail marijuana use. So we really appreciate what they're doing and are happy to partner with them. I'm going to run down, as I always do, services offered by our department. As Kelly mentioned, we teach a Too Good for Drugs program to all the 5th graders in town. It's a drug awareness prevention program. It goes over positive self-talk, peer pressure, and everything that kind of leads into underage use of drugs and alcohol. Also teach iSearch, which is more of a stranger danger program for kindergartners, second graders, and fourth graders. We offer RAD, self-defense programs for women. We offer residential security checks, vacation watch programs, child safety seat inspections, free gun locks for legal gun owners, and of course our emergency ID bracelet program. All of this can be accessed on our village website, or you can learn more by just coming to the station and talking to one of our great officers who are trained in these various aspects. Our department training, I always throw this slide up, and it'll be added to the PDF when the slides go out on the village website. But we're always having officers train in new areas, adding new specialties to just this plethora of trainings that we have. And it's anything from basic traffic officers to DUI specialists to rape defense instructors. Our officers are constantly being trained, working on professional development and becoming more well-rounded officers in various specialties and areas kind of where they find their niche. I'd like to go over just kind of a new segment that I'm calling All in a Day's Work, and just to go over briefly what an officer might see through an 8-hour shift, or what our department has seen particularly today in the last 24 hours. So real briefly, some of the calls for service that we've had today: domestic disturbance, motorist assists, retail thefts, unlawful use of a weapon involving a pistol, stray animal calls, truancy calls, to as serious as a bank robbery, vagrancy calls, and to suicide threats. So this is a rundown of the last 24 hours. This is not all the calls that we've had, but it shows just a wide array of responses that we have to have. And so it's really interesting to think that an officer might be helping a citizen with a motorist assist and have to go on a call for a bank robbery, and to understand the dynamics between being kind of just there to help someone to rushing to a call that's inherently dangerous and going to involve lots of moving parts and lots of chaos, to where the officer has to maintain control of the scene. On the flip side, if an officer is dealing with something dangerous and perhaps their adrenaline is spiked and they're dealing with nerves and a dangerous situation, to go from a call like that to a call of a stray animal where they have to kind of manage their emotions to try to mediate a problem that's in retrospect not as serious. So interesting dynamic that all our officers are trained to handle, and kind of a view into what a shift might look like for an officer. So we of course really appreciate all the officers' hard work and hope that our community does as well. These are just looking at our traffic enforcement from May through December of 2019. We've because of the implementation of electronic citations, we've been able to track a little bit easier kind of the implementation and the citations logged. So just the top 5 citations violations that we've seen this past year were speeding, uninsured motor vehicles, disregarding stop signs, improper lane usage, and cell phone use. So these are the higher concerns, because this is what we're seeing what more citations are being issued over, and the numbers that are coinciding there, up to 467 speeding tickets. These are not all the speeders that were stopped, but these are all the speeders that were cited. So the numbers we assume are higher than that. We've also had 50 citations, which means 50 arrests in that time period for no valid license or for suspended license, and 48 for DUI arrests. So that coincides with our data from our motor vehicle accidents for the whole year of 2019. On the left, we take a look at our 2018 stats. 36 accidents with injury, 505 property damage, for a total of 541. In 2019, unfortunately, we did have one fatal accident for a motorist that was on a motorcycle, but in every other category, the numbers have dropped. We attribute that to a good probably 70 plus stop signs being added to where uncontrolled intersections are non-existent, as also higher visibility for our stop signs with bright red LED lights for higher visibility. Our campaigns for our traffic signs and our speed trailers that are out there being moved around by our officers to address specific areas of need or of concern. And of course, our daily traffic enforcement, which our officers on every shift have made a priority. So we have seen these numbers go down in the next year, and we hope and expect that they'll continue to decrease with all the changes that we've made this year. So that's kind of our traffic in a nutshell. I'm going to turn it over to our detectives to talk about some offenses stats and in particular some concerns that they have that we've seen in the beginning of the year. So I will turn it over to Detective Sergeant Justin Labriola and Detective Michael Fries.
Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Justin Labriola. I'm the detective sergeant here. This is Detective Mike Fries. We work together in the investigation unit. So we are going to go over the differences between 2018 and 2019, the difference between the crime trends and some of the crimes that we've been seeing recently within the past couple of months, basically pretty much from November, December, all the way through January right now. So it looks like here in 2018, our Part 1 offenses, which happen to be some of the more significant crimes, our burglaries, our robberies, we were at 248, 830 for your Part 2 offenses. A lot of those are retail theft and small property crimes. All other events, you can kind of see how many calls that we respond to over the course of the year. 2019, you'll see just a slight decrease in the Part 1 offenses, pretty decent decrease in Part 2 offenses from 830 to 803. Same thing with just all other events. So 2019 was a good year compared to 2018. So it looks like everything has decreased, even in total events for that aspect of it. Same thing here with arrests, where you see 2018 we're at 116, and 2019 we decreased that down to 102. So we actually attribute that to just a decrease in call volume for the most part. So a decrease in crime within the village is its entirety. Same thing with total arrests. You can see a pretty significant decrease from 673 to 599. So within the last couple of months, these are some of the topics that we want to discuss, where every quarter we see some crime trend. Last year we had vehicular hijackings during the summer. We start to see an increase in thefts. Right now it seems to be that we are seeing an increase in wallet thefts. We've seen these typically at Panera, Whole Foods, Jewel, and Starbucks. These are an opportunity where you see folks that if they're shopping at the Jewel or the Whole Foods, they tend to leave their carts unattended to reach for some sort of product. And when they do that, it's easy for a person to reach inside the cart, grab a wallet, and then from there, what we're seeing is that the folks are going over to the Target in Oak Park, and they're using the victim's credit cards to buy gift cards. The victims don't even realize that their wallet is stolen until either they go and they try to make their purchase, or they're notified by their financial institution that somebody tried to purchase over $1,000 worth of gift cards from Target. So these are typically what we've been seeing, even with the Starbucks or Panera. If you're dining at one of those establishments, when you get up to go get a refill on your coffee and you leave your bags unattended, that's when we're seeing things happen. Or if you drape your purse over the back of the chair. I say purse because typically it has been female victims who, their wallets have been taken from their purses. So when they go up, their wallets have been taken from the inside of their purses, and their credit cards typically have been used at the Target off of Lake Street in Oak Park. So we actually have had 8 of them within just the past couple of months there. This is just a trend of the days of the week, so we typically have been seeing a little bit more during the weekend, your Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as well as the daytime hours, typically afternoon time more than anything, as well as the evening when the establishments tend to be a little bit more crowded. So Before we get to any open questions or concerns, this is just like anything else. We've also had an increase in some burglaries in our town center. It happens to be some of the busier areas, you know, for the most part. So when folks, they know that they have a decent time frame to go inside and shop at Whole Foods. They know that the offenders might have 10, 15, 20 minutes, 45 minutes to go ahead and burglarize a car. We try to tell people, don't go ahead and keep your belongings visible inside of your car. If you have your purse, a work bag, or anything like that, we know that offenders are looking inside the car to see if anything is visible. It's not like they're just pulling on the door handle and hoping to go ahead and steal your weather tech, mats from inside of your car. They're actually just trying to take whatever it is that they can that they see on the seat, anything that's visible, things like that. So again, we try to push this as much as possible. If you see something, say something. Just try to get out there, be vigilant around your surroundings, and that's it. We're always here if you need us, so make sure you give us a call, and we're here to help. Thank you.
Okay, we'll be opening it up for questions and concerns to anyone that has any, if there are any. Do you want to go?
I think just to hit some of the main points that we see here tonight is we look for voluntary compliance. So if the speed limit's 25, the speed limit's 25. If it's illegal to purchase tobacco products at 18, 19, and 20 years old, don't go in and try to purchase tobacco or alcohol at those ages, and don't try to encourage other young adults that might be over 21 to make those purchases for you. The marijuana laws and cannabis laws have changed, but it still doesn't mean having a certain amount over that 30-gram threshold, or how you have it packaged, or whether you're driving, as the new saying in law enforcement that the trainers are saying, drive high, get a DUI. And I think that's something we're going to be evaluating, as Kelly talked about, the statistics. What are we seeing with the changes in these laws? Not only do we serve the public, but they're our partners. So how you could help us is, as Detective Sergeant Labriola mentioned, see something, say something, but also if you hear something. A lot of us are very attuned to hearing something that isn't normal, whether you come from a coaching background, a parenting background, or specialized training that you have. And if you hear something and it doesn't sound right, key in on it. And if you're not sure, do I call 9 emergency? We've had the director of Westcom, our dispatch group down there, just call 911. You're not going to be yelled at. You're not going to be charged the special fee. But we also need you to lock up your property. In the past couple of weeks here, we've had the same car stolen twice with the keys in it, left in the vehicle. So we have sometimes, for convenience, sometimes keys are left in the vehicle. Sometimes keys are to residences are left in areas where others can find them. We also have the property and equipment that's someone's golf club, someone's laptop, tablet that's sitting there in plain view. And so those that may be opportunists, that don't like breaking windows or damaging things, they just open the car door and now they have your property. So you could really help yourself and your neighbors, lock your doors, your windows. If you have an alarm system, very important to actually turn it on. Utilize some of the solar lighting and other eco-friendly lighting that's out there to light up those areas, whether it's flood lighting, environmental landscape lighting. These are all great things that are out there for you. And we're available 24 hours a day. And there's always supervisors working 24 hours a day. So if you have a question, you don't feel the officers answered it, feel free to ask for, can I speak with the supervisor? Just like you would in any other business. It's sad sometimes when 3 days later, a commander or the chief is getting a call, and they could have been, received a little bit more feedback or relief from just asking a supervisor at the time why the police handle things a certain way. But we'd like everyone to have a safe 2020, and I don't think there's any more questions from the audience, and we haven't seen anything come in from our YouTube audience. And so, Ben, I'll leave it to you to close out the meeting tonight.
Okay, so no more questions. So I guess we will close it here. If there are any questions that pop up live or later on watching YouTube, they can be directed through me just by calling our station or coming in to talk to me. Crime Prevention Officer Ransom. All right, thank you. 708-366-7125. Officer Ransom. Okay, and we'll end it.